Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel Kavi Web Designs, and today I'm going to tell you all about HTML forms elements. Previously we have done HTML forms attribute, so this time we're going to do HTML forms elements. The HTML form elements. The HTML form element can contain one or more of the following elements: input, label, select, button, data list, output, option, and many more. The input element. One of the most used form elements is the input element. The input element can be displayed in several ways depending on the type attribute. Here in our example, we have a label where it's for, which is first name, which means F name. And here our label has first name as the context. And here we have our input where we have the type text and the ID of FN name, the name of FN name also. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to visualize this. As you can see here we have the same code that was shown before, just with another header too. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here, we have a header too, and then we have our form has some random like form text which says first name, but there's no last name. So let me write my first name. Now let's go to the next slide. Here we have next element, which is the select element. The select element defines a drop-down list. Here in our example we have a label where the label has the for attribute where the value is given cars, and here we have our context which is cars. Choose the cars. Here we have the select where the ID of select says cars, and the name of the select also says cars, because they both have to be the same for it to work, for the select to work. Now as you can see here, you have the same four options with the same four values and the same four contexts. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to run this. As you can see here, we have the same code that was shown before, but just with a header 2 and another paragraph, and here we have our action. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here we have a header 2, a paragraph, and then here we have a form. When I click this drop down button or click on the button, it will show this. It will show SAB, Fate, Audi, and Volvo is, since Volvo is the first one, Volvo will be selected. So I'll select Audi. Now let's submit this. As you can see here our action file came. Now here we have a header 1 where it's saying your form has sent into a record file. Now let's close this and go to PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. Here the option element defines an option that can be selected. By default, the first item in the drop-down list is selected. To define a pre-selected option, add a selected attribute to the option. As you can see here in an example, here we have a random examples where the value of fate is shown as selected, where the value of fate is the same as fate, and then here we have selected where here we wrote the attribute selected. That means selected as the first drop down that will be selected. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to run this. As you can see here, we have the same code that was shown before, but here in our option of value which is equal to fit, we also have another attribute where it says selected, and here we wrote fit. Now let's run this. As you can see here, we have a header 2, a paragraph, and here we have a form where when I select the open the drop down, it shows that fate is the first one which is shown. So let me select a random card in this list. Now let's submit this. As you can see here, our form activated where it's saying your form has been sent into a record file. Now let's go to PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. Here we have the next one, which is visible values. Use the size attribute to specify the numbers of visible values. So you can give size which is equal to 3. You can give the select the size which is equal to 3. So there will be 3 visible values out of the 4. there will be only 3 visible values out of the 4. Since one is already selected, like Volvo, since it's the first one, it will already be selected. So only 3 will appear since the size which is equal to 3. So only the 3 will appear: SAB, Fate, and then Audi. And if you give 2, then only SAB and Fate, and Audi will come. But SAB won't be, since that's the second one and we have the size of second, so we have the size of 2, so there will be only 2 which are coming. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to run this. As you can see here, we have the same code that was shown before, but just with another header 2 and a paragraph. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here we have a header 2, a paragraph, and here we have our form where we have a submit button. Now as you can see here, in our drop down, it came like this. Instead of like when you click on it, it will come. So as you can see here, there's only 3 coming, and you can choose from one. But there's 4 coming. You know why? Because we never gave any selected, so that's why there's 4 coming. Now let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. Allow multiple sections. Use the multiple attribute to allow the user to select more than one value. Here we have an example where we have the label where we have the same code that was shown before, but in our select you have a multiple attribute. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to visualize this. As you can see here, we have the same code that was shown before, but just with another header 1 and another header paragraph. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here, we have a header 2 and a paragraph, and as you can see here, you can select more by pressing Command or Control. So when I press Command, which is like the Windows key for Mac, and I press Command, and when I select Volvo and SAB, they both get highlighted. That means I can select all of them. So that means that if you have a Volvo and a Audi car, then you can select both of them. Now let's submit this. As you can see here, our action page underscore HTML came where it says your form has been sent into a record file. Now let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. Here we have the next one, which is the button element. The button element defines a clickable button. Here in our example, we have the button element where it says where it has the type of button, of course, to make it a button. And here we have the on click of alert. That means, as you can see here in our output, a alert box will come, and then you open the braces, and then you can put a double quotes or single quotes, but I recommend you to put single quotes because it's very easy. Instead of putting double quotes, you have to press shift and then you have to press the single quote for the double quotes to come. So I wrote hello world and then I said click me. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to run this. As you can see here, you have the same code that was shown before. We have a header 2. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. When I click this, this page says hello world. And the exciting part about this is that you only need this much of code to create an alert for the user. So if you had like a t-shirt selling site and then somehow the transaction doesn't work, then there will be like an alert. When you click the payment button, it will say the alert will come saying that your transaction went wrong, so your transaction will be cancelled. Please order like sometime later. Now let's go to PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. As you can see here, you have a next one, which is the data list element. The data list element specifies a list of predefined options for an input element. Users will see a drop-down list of the predefined options as they put input data. Here, a list attribute of the input element must refer to the ID attribute of the data list element. Now, let's go down to see our example. As you can see here in our example, our form says we have a form action where the form action is sending us to action_page.html. We have the input where we have the input where is the list browsers, and here we have the data list where the ID equals browsers, and here we have the option where the option has a value of edge, and here we have the copy the same options as before, but we gave the value as something different. Like for the second one we gave Firefox, the third one Chrome, the fourth one Opera, and here the fifth one we gave Safari. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to run this. As you can see here we have the same code that was shown before, but just with a header 2 and another paragraph. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here we have a header 2, a paragraph, and now here we don't have any options showing right now. We don't have any options showing. Now when I click this, as you can see here there's a box saying that you have all of these options, or I could just write something else like Bhavik. Now, or I could have wrote like Bhavik, or just like the suggestion said that I could just write edge, and then it gives me a suggestion to write edge again. Now let's click the submit button. When I click the submit button here, my action page.html started, and here I have my action page all the way over here where it's in the same file as Visual Studio Code file, and here we have a same code that was explained in the previous videos. I explained you this what was in here, and here when I linked this to the action page, it came like this because I just gave some simple code. Now let's go to PowerPoint presentation to learn about more. Here we have the output element. The output element represents the result of a calculation like one performed by JavaScript. Here we have an example where the example says that performing a calculation and shows the result in an output element. Here in our form we give action to action_page.html. Here we have the on input where the on input is giving some JavaScript code where it's saying parse int a.value, which I'll show you where that value is coming from. Here we have a 0. That means the 0 is here, and the output is this slider here, and then here we have 100. After this input we have it says 100 plus, so 50. So when you slide this ball, suppose I slide it to all the way to half, so 50 plus 50, which is equal to 100 so you can calculate over 100. And here in our input we have the type of range, and in our second input we have the type of number and the ID. At both of the IDs, the first input ID is A, the second input ID is B, and both of the names are the same as the ID, and here we have the value which are both same. Now and then after both of inputs, here we have equal to sign, which is representing here, which is equal to sign here, and here we have an output where it's saying name X for A and B. And then here we have two breaks for the submit button. Here we have the input type of submit but no value of submit. Since you could just write input type of submit, and you will Visual Studio Code will instantly know there is the input type of submit, so the value should also be submit. Now let's go to Visual Studio Code to visualize this. As you can see here we have the same code as shown as before, but here we have a header 2 and here we have another paragraph. Now let's run this to see what's going to happen. As you can see here, you have our header 2, our paragraph, and our most exciting calculator, which only calculates until 100. Here you could write whichever number you want. Like suppose write 890. 890 plus, suppose you don't know a lot of math, so you add some random number like 100, so it will come 990, which is a good calculator. When suppose you have a big number like some number like this, and here you have some random number, suppose make the number like 50, like make it at least half 50, like 50. Here we have a big number, and here we have the calculation which was shown here, if 50, we give 50 the middle, and then it becomes like this. So that's it for today, folks. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe to our channel Kavi Web Designs. And I hope you have a very nice day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.